Good evening. Welcome to the new Somerville High School. It's a long time coming. On behalf of the City of Somerville, the City Council, the Somerville School Committee, School Department, our state delegation, you'll hear from many folks shortly. We want to welcome you all, those who are here, those who have tuned in or watched this, and thank you. The success of any organization or community is always touched in the product of many hands. This incredible building, this investment in the future of our kids, our community, is a result of the incredible amount of passion, commitment, and advocacy of everyone in this community, from advocacy to activism, to our business community, to our educators, to our school leaders, our administrators, our city staff and team, our elected officials, and to the kids who helped hold signs many years ago, advocate for this, and endured a lot of disruption. We especially thank them and congratulate them for this incredible achievement. My name is Joe Curtatoni. I'm still the mayor of Somerville for a few weeks. And it's been my honor and privilege. As in 18 years as mayor, I believe in reminiscing with someone. 10 years has been working with all of you and so many people who aren't here to understand how do we get this done and get it off the ground. So it's an incredible achievement for this community. I do want to take the time before my remarks to recognize, and I'll be doing this throughout the night, because undoubtedly I'll miss someone. So please feel free to remind me. Our colleagues in elected office now. Before that, I do want to recognize those who've served with us throughout the years, formerly in the Board of Aldermen and the City Council, the school committee, the state delegation, who've had positions to help launch and get this project going. Please join me in giving them all a round of applause. I'd like to first introduce my colleagues from the City Council. It is my honor and privilege to introduce you, know her, the Mayor-elect and current Ward 7 City Council, Ms. Katiana Valentine. From Ward 6, Mr. Lance Davis. From Ward 5, Mr. Mark Niedergang, who was out there with signs and handing out flyers at schools. From Ward 4, Mr. Jesse Klingen. From Ward 3, Mr. Ben Ewan Campen. I'll recognize from Ward 2, Mr. J.T. Scott. If he's not here, he may be coming soon. Mr. Scott, thank you. And from Ward 1, the current City Council President, and from Mr. Matt McLaughlin, and a graduate of Somerville High. Our at-large alderman, and you'll hear from her shortly. She's also had the unheralded task of serving on the building committee from at-large, Ms. Mary Jo Rossetti, and a former member of the school committee. I've served with this gentleman now for the past 24 years, a 1973 graduate of Somerville High School, Council at-large William White. City Council at Large, Ms. Kristen Strezzo. City Council at Large, Mr. Will M. Barr. Will please join me in welcoming the newly elected members of the Somerville City Council, Ms. Judy Pineda-Neufeld from Ward 7. Ms. Bea Gomez from Ward 5. At Large, Mr. Jake Wilson. If I missed anybody else's child here, anyone else, please, you folks remind me. From our Somerville School Committee, again, you'll hear from some folks early, but I do want to thank them because they not only helped us support this, we all worked together to make sure we deliver this project as fast as possible, get through COVID, and within much less than we thought we were going to spend. So from the Somerville School Committee, the outgoing member from Ward 7, I also want to thank her for her years of service and advocacy, and the mother of her current Somerville High School senior, Ms. Carrie Norman. From Ward 6, Ms. Eleanor Barish. From Ward 5, Ms. Laura Patone. And you'll be hearing from him in a little bit, the chair of the Somerville School Committee, Mr. Andre Green. From Ward 3, Dr. Sarah Phillips. The vice chair from Ward 2, Ms. Ilana Krepshin. And Ward 1, Dr. Emily Ackman. And if I'm missing anybody elected, please catch me off. From our state delegation, you know, some of us have votes to take to put this on the ballot or to fund, but we all had a role to play. when we had to, and we're reminiscing about this project came on the heels of trying to figure out how to build a new East Somerville school after it was ravaged by fire, water damage, smoke when there were rules, and we'll talk about our partners at the state. State delegation has always and continues to be a partner at the local level, helping us to work through in a very collective way to solve our issues and take on challenges. I want to deepest thanks to all of them here tonight. So our state senator, Ms. Pat Chandler, former member of the Somerville School Committee. State Representative Ms. Christine Barber. State Representative Mr. Mike Connolly. State Representative Ms. Erica Eidhoven. She might be tuning in. I want to give a special shout out. She's stepped down in service recently, a long time former member of the Board of Aldermen, State Representative Ms. Denise Provost, if she's watching us, thank her. It has been a long time. Doesn't seem that way. I was reminiscing with Jack McCarthy from the MSBA, the Massachusetts School Building Authority, about that very story. And he said to me, the first meeting I had with you was up here at City Hall. He took me to the building. That was on the heels of trying to figure out when there were no rules or policies in place to do a new school or a major rental like in Somerville, when you had a disaster, a natural disaster, a fire damage. We figured it out. And to be here tonight is really an incredible accomplishment, given the unforeseen challenges we had to face. So I want to welcome you all again, say thank you and good evening for joining us as we celebrate the new Somerville High School. From seeing just this auditorium, and Bill, when you were in school, and myself, and Mary Jo, we're not going to leave you out, this was the high school gym. And it became the library in the 80s, as you'll see through the chronological history here, and then to the auditorium. But you get a sense here of how much work and thought went into designing a 21st century educational environment for our students. And you'll see much more of that later this evening while you tour the building. I really invite you to do that. It is special, and the kids deserve it. It takes a lot of people, as I mentioned, to successfully undertake this project, support it, and complete it. And you're going to hear from some of them tonight. But again, I want to thank all our partners and stakeholders, the ones I just mentioned, elected office. But I also want to give a shout out to the members of the high school building committee who represent city, school agencies, members of the community who put their time forward to make sure we had proper oversight and we work through challenges together. To all of you, and they're here tonight, please give them a round of applause. Our partners at the Massachusetts School Building Authority, you'll hear from their director shortly, as well as former State Treasurer Mr. Steve Grossman and Ms. Deborah Goldberg, because we couldn't have done it without them. They bought into it right away. It took a long time. It's been about a decade since that first conversation. So we got a big challenge here that we need to do on behalf of our kids, and how do we do it? They supported us throughout the way. And of course, we'll give them accolades, our project team, both internally, led by the head of infrastructure asset management, Mr. Rich Raish, the boots on the grounds, Eddie Nuzzo, who I think still lives here. We'll have to check on that, just to make sure. And incredible private sector partners from Suffolk Construction and PMA and SMMA, everyone who worked with us on this project, and all the contractors and subcontractors. But I also want to give special thanks to Superintendent Mary Skipper, the school district staff, and the staff and students of Somerville High, Full Circle and Next Wave, for your flexibility, for your patience, extreme patience, as this work was completed. Construction, I think we know, can be disruptive. I feel like we've been under construction as a community for 10 years as we try to resolve and undo the bad decisions and non-decisions from generations ago, and I'm proud of everyone in this community for fighting for that. From the Green Line to our water and soil utilities, to making our streets safe to bike, walk, and move around and without fearing your life, to taking on our major assets, investments like this one. It can be disruptive, disorienting, but our students and staff did an amazing job in setting an incredible example for all of us of taking it with grace and leading through it. I especially want to give a big shout out to all the students who couldn't enjoy this building. I'm sorry. But I know my colleagues in the school department of the city, we're all trying to figure out ways to bring them back. Not only did they have to, they were out there fighting for, cat down here, tell me, fighting for their younger sisters who would be students here because they deserve better. And they had to go to modular units. We had to move them around. It was like the old big dig. Where am I walking today? No, we're not going to do that anymore. You're going to go this way. And all because of the promise of what the next generation of kids would have. And then the pandemic came through. And we thought some of those kids and students might enjoy a moment of this. We gave them a little bit, and they accepted that with grace, and they led with grace. We've thanked them over and over again, but I can't thank them enough. My son, who graduated last spring, said to me recently, I'm so glad you're getting open for the kids there. They really deserve it. And I know every one of us who knows someone who graduated, who's here through those years, understands what I'm saying. But I also want to thank the Somerville residents for overwhelmingly supporting the debt exclusion that made this project possible. Ed Bean is the city's chief finance director, the finance director of the city. We talked about years ago, the community would never support a debt exclusion. We all came together. It wasn't promulgated. It wasn't a declaration by any one of us in elected office. It was a simple message. It's invest in our future. We told them what was at stake. We made the case. You all went door to door. Our school kids were standing out before and after school talking to parents. We went to businesses, the community, the former mayors of this city, Gene Broom, Mike Capuano, Dorothy Keldegay, all of us in elected office then, and we came together to fight on behalf of our kids, and you did it. And I'm proud to live in a community that understands the importance and invest in our children's future, our community's future, and their education, and making sure they have the best possible facilities to learning. As you'll see if you tour the building, and please do, Somerville High School, Full Circle, and Next Wave students are learning in an environment designed specifically with their educational needs in mind. New classroom space is tech-friendly and flexible enough to adapt to students' needs. We have career and technical education spaces that rival any workplace. Just so we understand what that means, I was a senior here in 1984. This bill was being constructed, Mary Jo was transforming from the old gym to the then library, and what is now the Edgeley School used to be the Technical Trade High School. And the community made an effort to build a new school, but they did something that was unprecedented. They were able to bring up a wing for the CTE program. Somerville High School in 1986 became the first comprehensive high school in the Commonwealth. And guess what? We led the way and everyone else is following. But what was missing, if you recall, if you know, let me give you some painful reminders. Those bathrooms, Bill, that were there on the bottom, we know there was one gang bathroom for boys and girls and women down the basement, they were there. If a kid was on the newer wing on the easterly side of the building, you had to go almost 1,000 linear feet and sometimes 3 stories to get to your next class in just a matter of minutes. Kids never complained. But our high school buildings a commitment that they need better to align 21st century learning vertically. I would love to be a kid in this high school today to participate in those programs, CTE programs, that unlocks creativity and innovation, and they deserve it, long overdue. This high school is also a commitment example with the advocacy of our high school students to our climate goals, who fought to make sure we embedded those components and principles here. We not only have solar panels on the roof and building that's been certified for energy efficiency and ready and poised to reduce carbon much to zero in the future. Right now, the new building will emit fewer greenhouse gases and can be heated and cooled more efficiently and affordably. And again, ready to be adapted further. It also makes for a much more comfortable environment that allows students to focus on learning and not worry about how much heat do I have, or if I have too much, or AC, or how do I get to the bathroom, obviously. Any of you who spent time in the old high school remember that you could pass through, you actually go through several climate zones on that walk from the east to the west side of the building, just by walking down the hall. It may not be the most riveting topic, but we've learned a lot over the past 2 years about how much school building ventilation can affect student health and building ventilation in general. I'm happy to say, with all of your advocacy, leadership, the school committee, the city council, everyone, that our new high school has an HVAC system that exceeds code requirements and guidelines established to cut down not just on virus transmission, really establish the highest standards of healthy buildings. Our kids, I think in the words of City Council Ben Ewing Campen, when we asked for a $7 million investment across the district, Ben, I'm going to steal your words, but I think you said, we should be doing this anyway. He's absolutely right. We have the means to do it. We need to keep that going. We now have a high school that is designed for the modern educational needs, helps us toward our climate goals, and creates a healthy environment for students and staff. And I'm going to say it over again, our youth deserve nothing less than that. At the first stage of a larger rethinking of recapturing the civic campus of our historic past here in Central Hill, the new high school also provides some exciting opportunities for community engagement. Along with this beautiful auditorium, we also have the Highlander Forum Lecture Hall, which can be used for community meetings. And that means we can now most comfortably host Central Hill and Gilman Square neighbors who want to engage us on neighborhood projects and other issues. And as we officially cut the ribbon on the new Somerville High School today, I'm sure you'll agree with me, I can't help but think of the future generations of students who will be educated in this building, the impact we'll have. Sections of the old high school served our city for more than a century. The main building, the central building as it was called, and you'll see the dates when I went here, was 1895. And I remember Treasurer Grossman at the time saying 1895, but they never speaking with Jack McCarthy, and we got to move on this. Please don't go dark on us now. And again, for more than a century it stood, and I know we built something that can stand the test of time and adapt to new needs. Cities and towns really get the opportunity to build a new high school, and I'm proud of all that work that went into creating a project that prioritizes educational and community needs and values. And as Somerville continues to grow and sees historic growth in revenue, we need to, and I'm excited to have worked with such incredible, inspiring colleagues in the new administration. I'm going to double down on returning that investment to our social compact of people, place, and planet. This is one small but important example. And I love a community, again, that prioritizes its education, community needs and values, and leads that way. Now, I'd like to invite, he has been, I'm sorry, Jack, I'll say the best executive director of the Massachusetts School Building Authority in my 18 years in serving public office. He has been responsive, progressive, proactive, and collaborative. Please welcome to the podium the Executive Director of the Massachusetts School Building Authority, without whose partnership and advocacy this wouldn't happen, Mr. Jack McCarthy.
Good evening. On behalf of Treasurer Goldberg, and I have some other folks here from the MSBA, including Jim McDonald, who's the first Deputy Treasurer, but also CEO down at the MSBA, Sarah Kim, who's the Treasurer's Chief Legal Counsel. I don't know, because I can't see with that light, if Ann Brockelman has made it here. She's a member of our board who lives in Somerville. She's a world-renowned architect, and we're happy to have her, but I know she was trying to get here today, but she was coming back from somewhere, so I'm not sure if she made it. But really, thank you for allowing us to be part of this celebration. Oh, I also have Rich Hudson here, who was the project manager. Rich, he's been on the ground here, although because of COVID, he hasn't been here in a year. So he and I took a nice tour with Tony and Chad from PMA. Tony P, you're Tony. And we were both very, very impressed. Again, thank you for allowing us to be here. You know, the mission of the Mass School Building Authority is to partner with Massachusetts communities to support the design and construction of educationally appropriate, flexible, sustainable, and cost-effective public school facilities. Benjamin Franklin once said, an investment in education pays the best interest. And we at the MSBA are proud to be some of those investing partners to the tune of about $118 million for this project alone. Mayor Curtatone was talking about the first meeting he and I had, and what he didn't know till tonight, because I told him earlier, that was the first meeting well, I had just gotten to the MSBA, so the meeting with Mayor Curtatone and Omar, who was here at the time, was the first meeting I had outside the office. And I was there to talk about East Somerville High, but he didn't waste any time talking about this project at the same time. So, you know, kill two birds with one stone. But, you know, since that day, we've had a great working relationship where if there's a problem, he calls me up, I call him up. And that's what I'm proud of, the kind of partnerships that we've been able to form, you know, working together, Joe. It's been great working with you. And your legislative delegation that you introduced, Pat, Mike, Erica, and Christine, some I've known for a long time, and I can't forget Denise, who was there for the longest time as well. You know, you have great leaders here. I don't know if you appreciate all that they do for projects like this, but I thank them all for their leadership in general. And Super Skipper, and I like that, because she is super, one of the best superintendents I've had the pleasure of working with. And she did me the greatest favor over the summer. She went national. I don't know whether you folks know this or not, but we had a webinar, and she ended up being the all-star of the webinar. We were talking about, you know, how to reimagine schools. And Mary was outstanding as she represented us, and we really want to thank her publicly again. I don't even know, I haven't seen her. Is she here? Okay. Hi, Mary. Let's see. And your consultants, who you talked about earlier, PMA consultants, Chad, and your designer, Sims Maney McKee, Alex, you'll hear from, but Lorraine Finnegan is over there, Finnegan rather, and I said I had a brief moment to talk to her. So I get here about 5 o'clock, so I was able to go through the building with Chad and Tony, and my God, I am just shocked at what you were able to do with this difficult site. This has got to be one of the most difficult sites we've ever built on, and the things that I saw walking around here that you designed and then Sharmat built and Chad, PMA made sure that they built it right and on time. I have no words. It's just amazing. And I hope you folks realize what a great job they did. And in concert with that, what a great job your building committee did in choosing them and overseeing them. Tony, you were the chair of that. Congratulations. And, you know, I'm real, and Jim McDonald will tell you, I'm not speechless usually, but I really have no words for how happy I am and how proud I am of how this project really turned out. It's just totally amazing to me. So there is a quote that I always like to use at occasions like this, and it kind of gives you an idea of how we at the MSBA feel about what we do. Dan Valentine was a reporter for the Salt Lake City Tribune, and he once described a school as a building of 4 walls with tomorrow inside. And we at the MSBA are so proud to be part of Somerville's tomorrow. So thank you. And it is now my pleasure to introduce to you someone who served you for over 22 years, both as school committee and as alderman city councilor, the vice president of the city council, and the representative to the building committee, outgoing counselor, and what a way to go out, right? Mary Jo Rossetti.
Thank you all. This is so awesome. Tomorrow night's my last official meeting, and for this to be the last official ceremony, you have no idea what it does for me. This really makes my heart feel so good. I'm here on behalf of my colleagues on the City Council. President McLaughlin, he extends his regrets. He had a work commitment, and he apologizes for not being here, but I'm so happy he couldn't, so I can. I stand before you as a family member who will soon have the fourth generation attend Somerville High School. My dad graduated in the late 40s, went for a free ride to BU because of Somerville High School. My sister and I both attended, and my sister had such a successful life because of the education here. My husband, I didn't know him then. He graduated 73 with Bill White. I'm a proud graduate of the class of 76. My children, our children attended here, graduated in the early 2000s, and now our grandchildren are getting ready to enroll. And it is such a good feeling to know that they are going to be in so good hands here. So many thousands of families have traveled these corridors, and I can't wait for the next thousands to see what it now sits through these corridors. You're going to be really blown away. It's so outstanding. As you tour, I want to share with you a couple of what I had advocated for, and I am so proud of, the lecture hall. Check it out. It's mind-blowing. There is such opportunity to be had in that room. I don't know, as you're looking at the screen in the lecture hall, to the left, right, and around the corners, the shades may be down now, but if they're not, the views are outstanding. But the opportunity for our students and the speakers that can be, and the discussions that can be had in that one room. And then on weekends and evenings, when the children and the students don't need it any longer, and our young adults, the community will be able to use that. There's going to be such opportunity in that room. I also advocated with the building committee for making new outdoor classrooms on our rooftop. First brought that up, I was told, oh God, no. Too much insurance, kids will be jumping off the roof, blah, blah, blah. We fought, and I won. And there's 2 classrooms. So happy for that. And sustainability was important. One of the student reps who has now since graduated and is attending MIT, who served on the building committee alongside myself, fought very hard for a strong, sustainable building. Cost was a problem. So we did have to push back on a little bit. I stood firm with him. He and I really tried. Max Nadeau, thank you. And what I am happy about is we are making use of stormwater here in this building for irrigation systems. And we do have a solar-ready rooftop with panels. So that, at least at minimum, I'm pleased about. I'm sorry that I'm rambling, and I did make notes so that I would not forget certain things. I just want to say to you all that the staff, the committees that I've served on over the years, been on this project committee for 6 years now, I believe it's been. And the project's still not over, as you all know, but that field will happen. And we are working on parking. So I just am so proud of being a part of this. And on behalf of the entire City Council, we congratulate the community for voting, for having the faith in the future in the education system. And I'm so happy for the future students and staff who will be a part in this building and the memories to come. Thank you all. Somerville leads the way. I now have the honor of next introducing my colleague in government, representing Ward 4, more importantly, serving as chairman of our school committee, Mr. Andre Green, school committee chairman.
So I don't know how to possibly top that, so I won't even try. Instead, I'm going to cheat, and first I'm going to continue honoring Vice President Rossetti, who, in her long list of accomplishments in the service of Somerville, it should not be ignored that in 2013, she served the entire Commonwealth as president of the Massachusetts Association of School Committees. During that time, where she led all school committees in the state, in response, she was a forceful advocate for increased funding for schools, serving as chair of the Advocacy Committee, so working both at state and federal level to fight for increased funding for all schools. This is vitally important because for 50 years, America has underfunded urban schools. We have seen the physical ramifications of that when you look at the buildings in communities like Somerville, Chelsea, Revere, and compare them to the schools in communities like Wellesley, Newton, and Brookline. During this time of massive uninvestment in urban education, Somerville High stood against the tide as a beacon of what urban education could be. But they've done that for years, despite their building. So you can see for yourself how beautiful the new building is. I also want to talk about how smart it is. As the mayor pointed out, Somerville High, and its tradition of leading the way, was the first comprehensive high school in the state of Massachusetts. And this is a trend that cities are trying to follow because it is what's best for kids. But through no fault of the leaders of the time, the way we had to build that still had the CTI as a separate wing of the building. And as those of you who remember the old building can attest, getting to and from that wing of the building was a struggle. So despite the promise of comprehensive high schools, as a logistical matter, it wasn't always the case that people could take advantage of it. This new building was built from the ground up with the principle that all Somerville High School students deserve access to all of its resources. And that by bringing those bodies together, we could improve educational outcomes for all students. I am beyond thrilled to know that my daughter, in simply 6 years, is going to be attending what is a model for what urban education can and should be. And that together, we have proven what communities can do if we're unified and we work together. And by doing that, we've put our world-class teaching staff in a best possible position to live our values of equity, our values of justice, our values of quality education for all. As it says, diversity is our strength, and now we have opportunity for the first time in generations for Somerville High's teaching staff to be able to show that and to be able to show what we can do for all of our students. I want to say on behalf of my colleagues on the school committee who have worked tirelessly to get us where we're going, on behalf of the building committee, on behalf of the superintendent who sends her regards, that we are thrilled to be where we are, but we're just getting started. And the Somerville High we have today owes a lot to Somerville High of 10 years ago, and we want to be in a position where we can say that Somerville High 10 years from now is proud of the work we did here today. So with that, I want to welcome someone who can speak to the struggles of having to work against this building for the old building for many years, as a former superintendent of Somerville Public Schools, and took that to his leadership process to get us a new school. I want to welcome Chair Tony Parentales, Chair of the Somerville High School Building Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Green. As the mayor mentioned, it's been over a decade when the conversations got serious about the renovation and a building project for Somerville High School. I was the superintendent then. I have to admit that the number one feeling in the community and the staff may have been skepticism. The city of Somerville had never voted the kind of money we were asking for. I remember the line I used often, and I think it was a line that worked. If Chelsea can have a new high school, why can't Somerville? And here we are today. We not only match our surrounding communities in the quality of our educational facility, we exceed anything that we could imagine. Today we celebrate the collective efforts of literally thousands of individuals who made a dream of a new Somerville High School a reality. And I want to thank every one of them, but not by name, who had a part in the planning, the support, the financing, voting, offering input along the way, and obviously those hundreds and hundreds of craftspeople who worked on the project. The results of these efforts are truly phenomenal. I've been saying this for the last few years when I talk to our architects. It's an award winner. And I certainly believe it will be an award-winning building. I want to offer a special thanks to the many members of the school building committee who shepherded this project over 4 years of meetings. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your commitment to the project, and thank you for your personal perspectives on how to make this project better. We stand here today due to the vision, the perseverance, and the teamwork of a huge number of people. However, the building is a symbol of the value we all place on education and the unlimited potential of people working together. Not arguing, not calling each other names, but truly working together. I think we need a bit more of that in our world today. I also want to remind you and the viewers at home that as beautiful as the building is, as special as it is, it's the activities within it that are really special. And we can't lose sight of that. It has been an honor and a pleasure to serve as the chair of the building committee and obviously as your superintendent for a decade. Mr. Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to continue as the chair of the building committee. And thank you all for your undying and unquavering support. Thank you. And it's my great pleasure to introduce Mr. Matt Buchanan, the principal of Somerville High School.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. I am proud and honored to welcome you to this beautiful new building and campus serving our Somerville High School and Next Wave Full Circle communities. I must thank my wife, though, for allowing me to be here this late tonight. She has a 5-year-old at home that is giving her a 5-year-old treatment, so I need to make sure I get home, bring some dinner for sure. My name is Matthew Buchanan. I'm the new principal here at Somerville High. I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge Mr. Lagambina. Where is he? AKA Civic. He has been a tremendous mentor to me and has really made the transition easy. Civic, thank you. As you know, this project has been a labor of love for many people in this community for many years, and I am blessed to have walked into this beautiful building without doing much work behind the scenes. But all the work behind the scenes cannot be ignored. Leading a school is incredibly rewarding, and it can also be incredibly challenging. Leading a school through a construction project is a monumental task. And to do it with grace, compassion, and patience speaks volumes about the type of person that leader is and where their priorities lie. Sibby, thank you. Thank you for all you did to support this important project. Thank you for keeping students and staff at the forefront despite the logistical challenges that such as this project can present. And thank you all for your continue to do, and thank you for all that you continue to do to support our transition into this amazing campus. I'm incredibly grateful to have the opportunity to serve our students and staff in such a beautiful, state-of-the-art facility in a community that so clearly prioritizes and supports its youth. The traffic, not so much. I don't think that. I do think the commuter rails and the train, because the traffic, the time I drove, if I had known the traffic was going to be 2.5 hours, I would have never drove the first time. It took me 2.5 hours to get home one time, and that was literally my last time driving until today. What you were taught today is not just a school building, it is a community. It was designed with community in mind, as a place where students and staff could connect, collaborate, explore, exchange ideas, create, learn, and grow. It is a collaborative vision of what learning could and should be, brought to life in a pretty spectacular way. We are excited and so proud to have a space that lends itself to interdisciplinary, hands-on, project-based learning. As you tour the building this evening, I hope you see the community vision brought to life and the potential for innovative learning experiences through the building design. Thank you again for joining us this evening. You are the reason we are here today, and for that, you have our deepest appreciation and respect. At this point, and the reason why I am here are the students. That's why I'm here. That is my happy place, the students. So are there any students in the building? Please stand. If there's any Somerville High students, please stand. Anyone. Jadison, you're here. At this point, it is my pleasure to invite Jadison Flores, our senior class president, to join me on the podium and offer a few comments.
Hello. I just want to start off by saying that I'm very grateful and almost very privileged to attend such a pretty school. Hashtag I love it here. I feel like after attending the school for a few months, the vibe and the energy it radiates is unity and positivity. It's definitely a beacon for the community. The morning sunlight shining through the 100 of windows every single day makes my morning, and it's honestly such an amazing day to wake us up and to get us to the academic day. Hashtag sunkissed. I swear, there's not a single dark room in this entire school. In the new building, there's so many more opportunities to learn in different classroom settings, such as the lecture halls, the art rooms with open ceilings, study rooms, and outdoor courtyards. Oh wait, even dark rooms for the photography. I guess I did lie there about not being any dark rooms. Anyways, personally, my favorite thing about the school is that there's always something going on, whether there's a meeting going on in the library, a college presentation in the lecture hall, students working out in the weight room, or even tutoring in the cafeteria. There's always someone somewhere, just like me. I always have things to do, places to be, and people to meet. I feel our community has grown so much as well with the addition of the Next Wave and Full Circle in the building, and also grown in a small way with the addition of the Early Ed Child Care Center in the playroom. Do you get it? Because they're little kids. Lastly, I'm so excited for this school year. The dances, the sporting events, musicals, concerts, pep rallies, and more importantly, graduation. Hashtag I love it here. Hashtag go Highlanders.
Jadison, it is one of our many, many shining stars we have at the building. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the amazing staff at Somerville High School, though. They have helped me, they have embraced me, they have taught me so many things in my short time here. It's an amazing, dedicated staff. And for those who are here or watching at home, I do thank you so much. I cannot do this without you guys. And this is my last special shout out to my administrative team. I have an amazing assistant principals and associate principal who are really my right and left arm for sure. So I do thank them as well. And at this time, I'd like to introduce and bring up Alex Pitkin, the Senior Vice President of SMMA. Please join us on the podium.
I'm not so sure that's fair to follow a student and the principal, but thank you. Start with an understatement, if I may. SMMA is extraordinarily proud to have been a part of this unique and extraordinary project. It has been a project of a lifetime for me, obviously, as a citizen of the city. I was reflecting back to when we had designed and opened the Argenziano School some time ago. There was a new school building authority, there was a new superintendent, and there was a new mayor. And so the circle continues, and that's the beauty of educational projects, always recycling and revitalizing. Although, I'm not sure why my hair turned white, and the mayor and the superintendent don't look like they've aged a minute. And you're the ones who are supposed to have the stressful jobs. I haven't figured that out. But for those who may not know, Somerville High School is only one of 9 comprehensive high schools in the Commonwealth. As you've heard speaking about that, that's blending a college track education program with the vocational program. And it's a special place. Don't ever forget that. As an educational environment, it's a project-based learning lab on steroids. It's a Marvel universe of many opportunities for our students. And our diverse community is what undergirds its success. So thank you to Mayor Curtatone and the building committee for supporting the vision, because there really is no other place in the Commonwealth that places a high school, city hall, and a central library at the exact center of its civic place. Now, some will bemoan that the high school is not surrounded by fields, like our suburban counterparts. But think about what that means for the students when they walk out those doors, and they can meet their leaders right next door. They can take advantage of the portal that is the central library to the greater world. And with the 14 trade programs and the internships that are intertwined, throughout the city, and then our student athletes are over in the west at Dilboy, down to the south at Conway, to the east over at Capilano, and to the north at Blessed of the Bay, right? Crew, go Crew. Somerville High School is in fact everywhere in the city. And that is a 21st century education. And that's pretty cool. Now, Superintendent Pirantazzi and Superintendent Skipper allowed us to access students and staff. We know it's not their day job to design a high school, but we can't do it without their input and their efforts and time. And they advocated for a school that honors the past, but clearly looks towards the future and is inclusive of all students. And that was our guiding principles. As architects, and particularly as designers of schools, our stock in trade is the future. Our work is mostly completed 3 years ago, but as educational planners, we have to see our designs as ceaseless horizons, where the students with their teachers are using this environment to test, explore, and to seek their futures. Think of the tens of thousands of students that will pass through the school over the next 50 years, call it 100 years. I suppose that I owe Superintendent Pirantazzi and John O'Terry, who's probably not here today, an apology for stalking them at countless parent-teacher nights and soccer matches. But the minute SMMA had finished our first comprehensive high school, and it was really the first one that blended programs in the way that you've heard talked about tonight, I knew that Somerville High School had to get on that train. And so We rightfully celebrate tonight also the contractors that helped us to build the school. So thank you to Dennis and the Suffolk team. Every day you drive by and you see the hundreds of workers busy constructing this place. We celebrate that. But I would be remiss if I did not thank my design team. SMMA had 148 employees building the virtual Somerville High School, most of them behind the scenes, but no less dedicated to the success of the project. Thank you, team. And you've heard it from others, the city did have a great building committee, really one of the best. Calm, it could have been really easy to take this challenge in the wrong way. And I assume they got pretty tired of hearing me at every meeting. I think I could be quoted as saying, this is a really complex, complicated, difficult site. Now, I didn't say that to be a dodge or to hide behind that, but a reminder that sometimes doing the right thing, the right solution, is simply hard. So the 3 years of construction, literally on top of the old school, tossed in the pandemic, the staff and students and parents have surely endured. If these aren't the most resilient parents, teachers, and students, then I don't know who will be. Mayor Curtatone, best wishes on your future endeavors. Congratulations to Mayor-elect Valentine and the new city councilors. The future is now in your hands, and that's pretty exciting too. So speaking of resilient, I'd like to introduce the calmest man in Somerville, Richard Raish of the Department of Infrastructure and Asset Management.
I'm like a duck under the surface. It's going like this. Bill, this one's for you. One last time. So people can pretty much guess that building a new high school within the footprint of the old one, sandwiched between City Hall and Central Library in a dense urban environment, can be difficult. Indeed it was. Before we conclude tonight and tour this wonderful facility, I do want to highlight just a handful of those challenges and express gratitude to the technical team that overcame them. You wouldn't know it now because it feels like an integrated building, but really it's a series of different structural components that all came together. And fittingly enough, where I stand right now is sort of the nexus of a number of them. And it's the spot where I would come throughout construction and just stand and marvel as the building came together. So, despite its high-tech appearance, but maybe hinted at by the roof trusses, this building dates back to 1929. It was renovated. What we couldn't tell when we started the project was that when we removed the walls, that the columns in the walls were rotten, and we needed to reinforce them, immediately expanding the scope. But while that was happening, you could look out the hole in the wall and see the modular classrooms that were required to keep high school operations functional whilst we knocked down wings and built the high school. Just off of stage right was another wing built in 1929 that we demolished. And as we were excavating that to build the first phase of the new building, we encountered asbestos, and having to remove that immediately threw all of our work plans and schedules out the window, and we had to replan the entire sequence of work. Behind me, you could throw a ball from here to there, or probably more appropriately, a ball from there to here, is the field house, which was constructed in 1986 and fully renovated with all new systems, and particularly all new systems for the CTE classes beneath. In between, in that very narrow space between this building and the 1900s and that building in 1986, and off of stage left was another 1986 wing, which was surgically demolished so as not to knock down inadvertently the field house or this auditorium, and then start building the phase 2 construction. So there was a point in time where you could stand here and see all of those different things happening simultaneously. Ongoing operations, renovation, rough construction, finished construction. And if you look behind us, just down the hill about 80 feet, because we are on a sizable hill, was MBTA building a Green Line station, because these two projects converged, which created a number of logistical challenges for each one of us. How do you coordinate two enormous construction projects at the same time within a very small footprint? And let's not forget that halfway through construction, we encountered a pandemic. And believe it or not, you can't build a building remotely from home. And so along with the rest of the construction industry, we had to learn how to safely build in the new world in which we live. And I'm very happy to report that through the planning of the team, the protocols we put in place, the contact tracing, we have no evidence that there was any on-site transmission of COVID-19. None of that was easy, and none of it could have been remotely possible had it not been for the skill, knowledge, and undying dedication of our team. PMA, our owner's project manager, who have been with us from the beginning, Chad Crittenden, Sean Burke, Anthony Lepresti, Nick, John, the other John, Ron, Chris, others on site and off. SMMA, our architect, who is really to thank for this building in its function and form. Alex, of course, the amazing Lorraine Finnegan, the ever-patient Matt Rice, Dave Fanueli, Peter Roebuck, Bill Betters, Aaron, Lana, Andrew, the list goes on and on, as Lorraine would say. Suffolk Construction, Dennis Garapi, John Allen, John Fish, Jeff Cavea, Sean Edwards, Jake, Kyle, Ben, Nell, Pat, Cliff, and more. And that's even before you get into all their trade partners. You know, the people who actually physically built the thing. I mostly deal with project managers and white-collar people. And of course, our partners in SPS, Mary Skipper, Jeff Curley, Sibby, the dearly missed by all of the people on the construction team, because he was our day-to-day liaison for so long and just solved problems after problems, Leo DeSimone. And of course, our city team, Eddie Nuzzo, my predecessor, Rob King, in capital projects, Erica Mason, communications, Karen and Ronnie in the mayor's office, Suzanne Rinfret in parking, Nick Antidovica, and the entire team in ISD, all the police and fire details along the way. This project required more of already overburdened city departments, and we would not have been able to deliver the project without their support. With a project of this size and complexity and exacerbated by schedule and budget pressures, of course there were conflicts along the way, disagreements within the team. But with every issue and at every step, there was never any doubt that every individual on this team and working on this project had the interests of the project at heart and ultimately the ultimate goal of opening the building for the students. In this holiday season, it's hard not to sort of draw an analogy to a family, functional or otherwise. And sure, there were disagreements, fights, name-calling, lost sleep. But at the end, everyone deeply cared about moving this building forward, and everyone pulled together as a team to do that and deliver this for the future occupants. So please share a round of applause for that technical team, many of whom are here tonight to celebrate with us. And of course, the corollary. On behalf of that team, I would like to thank the mayor, the city council, the MSBA, and the taxpayers who voted for the debt service override for the opportunity to work on this once-in-a-lifetime project. We sincerely hope that this building serves the educational and development needs of Somerville students for the next 100 years. With that, thank you, and I'd like to welcome back Mayor Curtatone for final comments.
Thanks, Rich. I do want to, as I figured I would, recognize who I missed. Safe to the end, though. You've done an exceptional job, all the previous speakers, recognizing many people. It's a reminder how many people involved. And anyone we didn't mention, believe me, you are felt here tonight. First, I've had the honor of working with many colleagues in government and knowing and working with so many people on the school side and in partnership. The former headmaster of the school, going back to Mr. Gallegani, then Tony Ciccarello, and John O'Terry, and Sibylla Gambina, and now Matt Buchanan. What an incredible legacy of school leadership we have here in Somerville. We have one of a renowned educational visionary leader and Superintendent Skip. I want to thank her. Tony Parentozzi came here many years ago, served a decade as a superintendent, started setting with us high standards for educational excellence. When he decided to retire, I remembered about one thing about Tony when we went out in a search for a new superintendent at the time. You actually built a high school at Dennis Yarmouth. You were in charge of the project. And I begged Tony, here can be the icing on the cake of your legacy. Help us here, guide us here. Tony, you're an exceptional educational leader, but thank you for all your dedication in this project. We're so grateful for all the work you did here. The people behind the scenes, I do want to give them more shout. Rich Raish and his team and Rob King, the importance, I thank the city council. I can't hire the people fast enough over the years to invest in organizational capacity to do important work in big projects. In addition, so thank you to the city council, but also 1972, Ed, you were ahead of Bill in the class. I just want to make sure. We might as well say it out loud, right? Is that the, okay. Same as Bill? And you graduated. Was he ahead of you, Bill? Was he? Okay. Let's just get it done. And the first time Somerville was an All-American city, but let me tell you, this project, with all the unknowns and unforeseen, just to be a little bit explicit, we found everything but the remains of the previous headmasters under the soil here. Back then, they didn't remove contaminated materials. They buried it. And we knew it was a complex project. It was still the best. People should know the best project was on the original civic campus compared to other sites were in the urban core. It made the most sense. Talk about threading a needle with the GLX, constant collaboration, agreements, licensing, access with the community path and so forth. So Rich and his team, incredible job, but also Brad Rawson and George Prowakis from OSPCD. It's really important to recognize them. But this project comes in $79 million less than the total life cost of what we thought. So let me be clear, when you borrow money, you borrow an X amount, you spend more over time. $79 million below what we were going to spend. Ed Bean, our bond counsel, Cinda McInerney, incredible leadership, and then some of us in the best financial position because of the talent we have here. Thank you very much. Jack, just because you're going to get a phone call tomorrow, I'm going to save you. I know Sharma is a good construction company. Suffolk than this one, but Sharma is good. John Fish, we had for this project the best contract. We have John Fish, the CEO of Suffolk Construction. Not only do we have quality construction, but when we had other issues like this pandemic, and we ran into distribution supply issues for air filtration, filters, or any of those systems. You remember those conversations? John Fish, when he came on this job, his company said, I'm here for this community. I don't know many CEOs, companies that large, you can call, pick up the phone, say, what can I do to help? Said, we need to get these materials, and we can't open our schools up in the middle of COVID. John, you're watching, their work is impeccable. We had the best partner to do this complex job. Thank you to John Fish and Suffolk Construction one more time. Again, you should all be proud. This project is a culmination of incredible legacy by everyone, and I thank you for that. And there's more to come. My ask of the new administration, of the community, to support our policy and leaders finish the job. This campus, so people know, this is a high school project. We have a campus master plan that's important to unlock the true value of this historic site, Central Hill, the concourse, as we called it. The 1895 building is primed to go, and we have the resources to do it. So when they had these tough decisions, ask the tough questions, let's support our elected officials for city, school, and civic spaces. Don't tell us to paint City Hall, because that should be the last on the thing. I know that for 18 years, there's so many buildings, and the city council stepped up and supported all that infrastructure investment. Make sure we connect to expanded bicycling and pedestrian safety and capacity to get away from being a city of cars to a city for people here on Highland Ave, and connect it to the Green Line Station and combined pedestrian bicycle path. That has to happen. We'll get the means to do it. So when the council and the new administration is to debate this, understand that this is part of one approach. And in this project here, Alex, you say you have a son who graduated here too recently. You, Lorraine, and Team SMA, the project in Lincoln Park, now called the Gen School, the old Lincoln Park School, taught me one thing that you said to me years ago. Invest in solid, quality, sustainable materials. Don't cheapen your project. There's nothing luxurious here. These are things our kids deserve for years. But we ran into, and it's important to ask the tough questions. Where can we save more money? Maximize the taxpayers' dollars. We refused to go back. We wanted those materials. So this community, all of us said, this architecture, this building is important to us if it costs more. That field house, which, sorry, Jack, but you guys don't pay for that stuff anymore. You could change that in the future. We wanted to keep that there. We wanted a field out back. We don't invested in pocket spaces on the ground, put it into building an incredible civic site and back into the community, back in the people, place, planet. So I thank you for holding us to the high standard. Thank you all for all your work. Celebrate tonight. One announcement after we cut the ribbon. Tours will go on to 8:30 because we went a little extended from 8 o'clock. Please take a tour around if you can. It's special to see. But I want to thank you all for being here tonight to celebrate the new Somerville High School. And again, I want to give my heartfelt thanks to everyone who worked on this project and to everyone in the community who supported it and endured it. There is perhaps no smarter investment, as is written from this builder dedicated to the preparation of our youth for life, than investing in our young people in this new building is certainly a testament to that. Now, speakers, where anybody wants to join us, we're going to go out, step outside the main entrance for an official cutting of the ribbon ceremony. You're all welcome to join us, or if you prefer, you can start touring the building now. And as you walk around tonight, students and SMMA staff will be stationed around the building to direct you and answer any questions you may have. Just look for the folks with the name tags. There's going to be a lot of exciting things to take in, but we do need to be out of the building right after that. So please be mindful of the time and take pride. Congratulations to everyone in this community for leading with its values and chasing its dreams. Have a great night. Happy holidays and Happy New Year.